Welcome to We Try. I'm Amy.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we're going to be talking about our recent trip to Saugatuck, Michigan.
Saugatuck is on the west side of the state, right on the Kalamazoo River, just a little bit in from Lake Michigan. It's basically a summer town, right? It's basically a cottage town.
Or a Hallmark movie Christmas town. Yeah,
this town looks like it could serve as the location for a Hallmark Christmas movie. In fact, I half expected to see a film crew there filming a holiday movie for next year just because of how picturesque it is. Obviously, we're there in December, but you can tell that if you were there during the peak summertime, it would be like, it looks like a little like New England beach town. Everything's really, really close together. There's a lot of really cool shops and a lot of really cool boutiques and a lot of really cool bars and restaurants. And it's just got that water vibe to it.
All the like summer lake towns in Michigan are just the cutest things ever. And Saugatuck is just like that. Like, they have the charm, the little shops, the bed and breakfast.
So we stayed at the Judson Heath Colonial Inn, a bed and breakfast right in the heart of Saugatuck.
It was the cutest, picturesque bed and breakfast I think we've ever experienced. I mean, you just walk up and it's this big colonial looking home, beautiful on the outside and just as beautiful inside. Our room was with a king bed, a nice chase lounge, and it had a private bathroom, which is always really nice. Sometimes bed and breakfast, you don't know if you have your own room, your own bathroom, and it was really nice that we had that.
So the owners of this place are a couple named Jen and Steve, and they are just some of the best people that I've ever met. Very inspirational people, very easygoing people, people that can pretty much have a conversation with anyone, and just really generous and really kind individuals too. They bought this place when it was probably at its lowest point. It's a very old house. They had a vision, and they bought this place, completely rehabbed it right down to the studs, and it turned out to just be a very, very cool place that is a total gem for the city of Saugatuck.
At the bed and breakfast, you are greeted with wine or beer when you check in. We had a conversation with Steve about what we had planned that weekend. And then also we had breakfast. Jen prepares a gourmet breakfast every day, but we had like the best breakfast each day. The first morning we had like a omelet with salmon. It was out of this world, fantastic, homemade bakery goods, great coffee. And then the next morning we had, it's like a Mediterranean like dish with like peppers and tomatoes and different spices with eggs, and it was so good. It
was just a great way to start off each day. That breakfast was just as good as you would get in any restaurant, and it was included in your stay. And it was really interesting because we all sat at a big breakfast table with everybody who's staying at the bed and breakfast. And that was super unique. Just bringing everybody together at the same table was really cool because it turned out that everybody who was there was really, really nice and actually really, really pleasant to talk to.
They were generally interesting conversations, right? We were all like-minded, staying at this historic colonial inn, and we just all were taking appreciation of the beautiful space.
The first night, Friday night, after we enjoyed our glass of wine and after we checked into our room and kind of got the lay of the land, we headed out to a restaurant called Coast 236. This was a really, really nice restaurant.
The environment, right, was like very clean lines. You felt like Ethan said before, like you're in this New England like coastal area, and that is exactly the vibe.
On Cape Cod or something.
Yeah, totally, the Hamptons, you know.
And
like it's very clean, very cozy in there because everything's decorated for Christmas too. And of course, what did we start with?
Gotta start with martinis.
Duh! We love martinis.
And they had blue cheese olives, so it just makes it even, that's just a plus right there.
And they were homemade.
Homemade
blue cheese
stuffed
olives.
blue cheese olives.
They were actually really good blue cheese olives too.
They were great blue cheese olives. Good. The martinis were really good.
Really good.
And yeah, we took those down pretty easy.
We totally did. Yeah. They had a tasting menu. Of course, I got it.
Gotta go for the tasting menu.
Because I like to try different things, right? I want to be able to try it. I like it because they're smaller portions. Okay, the tasting menu was out of this world. It was so good. My favorite dish, because I also ordered the wine pairing with it. Why not? Why not?
Pinky up.
Pinky up. Wine up. The best part was their corn risotto. And it was so good. I looked over at Ethan and I was like, you have to try this. I could recommend all of the dishes that I had there.
But I chose to get one of the starters and then also a main entree. So for my starter, I got the lamb chops. It came on a plate with an aioli and also a hummus. And it was really, really good. For my main course, I got the Hawaiian wahoo. And I don't think I've ever had this fish before, but the dish was excellent.
After that, we went back, had a few drinks at the bed and breakfast in our room, and just cozied in. It was really nice. On actual Saturday morning, we slept in a little bit, which was so special. Because we went for a morning walk and wanted to explore the town. It was really cold that morning. But
yeah, it was cold that morning.
Yeah.
And we went over to the Kalamazoo River and we saw a lot of really interesting things about the town. First off, they had like a little park right by the river. They were set up for a Christmas parade that day, so they had all the Christmas decorations up. And we saw a really cool thing too called the chain ferry. Yes. And we learned a little bit about the chain ferry because it's the only chain ferry in Michigan, and it literally takes people on a chain across the river on both sides. And I guess it's a thing that is very, a staple in the summer.
Fun. Obviously, it was closed in the winter.
I'd go on it if it was open.
After breakfast, we walk over to a holiday market. We got some yummy goodies for gifts for the year and some treats for us too.
It was kind of like their farmer's market area. You could tell there was like the farmer's market there in the summer, but they had a bunch of vendors as far as like the holiday season goes, and we picked up a lot of cool stuff.
But it was so cold.
It was cold, but even though it was cold, there was surprisingly a lot of people there.
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
Everybody, you live in Michigan and you brave the cold, and nobody really cared.
No, we decided that day that we were gonna go check out Fenville. We had heard a lot of good things about that area, to go check out some of their wineries and cideries. So the first one we checked out was Virtue Ciders, which is a well-known cider brand that makes cider the old way. They make it without sugar. It's very natural, almost tastes like champagne, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I can kind of see that vibe.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it's definitely not like a bottled cider that you would pick up in the store. No. After we went to Virtue Cider, we went literally right next door to a winery called Modelis Winery. And this place was super cool. Yeah. It totally reminded you of a winery that you'd walk into in like Traverse City.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good atmosphere. They had a huge bar that you could sit at. Yeah. They had their wines on tap, which was really cool. And they had to add to the atmosphere, they had a piano player who was playing some tunes. This winery, we tasted a lot of really good wines, and we bought several bottles from here as well. It was just really, really good wine.
That was like my favorite winery in like a long time. Just the vibe was really cool. The bartender was so nice, and the wine was delicious. So
the bartender was super knowledgeable.
Yeah. While we're at the winery, they have food there as well. We overheard people drinking wine. They were talking about the cheese spread that they got for their snack, and the bartender was like, oh yeah, this is from a local creamery right down the street, Evergreen Lane Farm and Creamery. And so we decided to go over. It was not far at all. It was maybe like 5 minutes away. So we get there, we park our car, and we're like, not really sure what to expect. It is wild. There are people there, they clearly have been drinking all day. Ethan and I are like, okay. So we get in and it's clearly like goat's milk and cow's milk and all of that. And so we get a few varieties, but these ladies come over to us and they're like, you have to try their chocolate truffles. And we're like, okay, cool. Like we're sold, whatever. They're like, no, you have to try them and have them room temperature. And we're like, okay, cool. We'll try them. Later on, they were right. They were quite delicious.
They were fantastic.
Yes. After we bought our cheese and the truffles, we walked out onto the farm. We said hi to the horse. We saw the goats. I let the goat lick me. Ethan
the goat with the crazy eyes.
He was cute. I thought it was fun.
His name was Raul.
It was a fun farm. We had plenty of time before dinner, and so we're like, okay, let's go check out one more. And so we go over to
Michigan Wines. And actually, I would say this was right on par with Modelo's Winery. Yeah. Like, it was super cool. So at Michigan Wines, you could tell it was an extremely popular stop in the Fenville area. We got several recommendations for Michigan Wines. One wine that really stood out to me was made with hops. Yeah. So similar to how you make beer, but they made wine that way. And you could totally taste the hoppy flavor in the wine. Yeah. So that was a treat to be able to hit that because we weren't originally planning on hitting it. We just went based off a recommendation.
Yeah, I know. It's like 2 recommendations and they both were impressive.
After we hit Michigan Wines, it was time for our dinner reservation. We went to a restaurant called Borrowed Time. And this was also a recommendation as well. I feel like this whole weekend was recommendations, but they all turned out to be so good. So good. So we got to Borrowed Time pretty early in the afternoon. We got on this kick where we like to do early dinners, and it's always great because there's nobody in the restaurant. We're always the first ones.
So the drink menu, you can only order off the drink menu. They don't have like a full bar where you can, like, we were like, oh, really wanting to try their martinis, and like, oh, we don't really do that. You have to order a drink. Just a
prefix drink menu.
Yeah, which was okay. Like, I would have loved to have a little bit more flexibility in that, but I understand why they do that, right? They were good, right? The drink I thought was good.
Ooh, I like the drinks.
Yeah, I wasn't like in love with mine, but it was good. I loved the food. So they are known for their small plates there. And so Ethan and I were able to try a variety of different dishes, all the way like from like Brussels sprouts to like our favorite dish, which was like this shrimp with black beans and like almost like a tostada. It was so good. We ordered it twice. It was like a tamale.
It was so good that we had to order the dish a second time.
She like came over for dessert and I was like, I actually want this shrimp dish again. Like, I don't want dessert. I want that shrimp dish again. And we both were like, it was the right decision. It was so good. All of the food there was very unique. Very unique. Very unique and just really good. Perfect sizes. So we were able to enjoy a lot of different variety, which is what we like to do. It's our own tasting menu. Overall, we had probably one of our best weekends in Saugatuck. Oh yeah. We both just drove away afterwards and were like, that was amazing. Like, that whole weekend was everything we both needed, and we had so much fun meeting so many different nice people, having so many different yummy foods and drinks, and just a really great experience overall.
Saugatuck, especially like in the wintertime, is not a place that would be on our radar. But I'm so glad that we went because it's somewhere that unless we intentionally went there, we probably would have never went to. Yeah. I would absolutely go back to Saugatuck. Yeah.
So drop us a comment below. Where should we check out next? Give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next Sunday. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Empty glass.
Cheers.